I think this is a good example of, okay, what's next? So, working together, our main goal here is to, really engage with communities to do more, right? Why, is it the staff? Is it the elected officials? And I think Putnam County is a great example of, how can we move this in the direction? How can we help this community? And are there any, Joe, good idea, getting to know the staff and finding, that pressure point to move it forward. That's a great idea. Are there other suggestions? We're hoping we can leave today with some action items. Let's take what we're learning and see if we could start this momentum. So are there any other suggestions on how we could actually help Putnam County right now, or other communities? Josh, I mean, you have 10, that you're working with, just some suggestions on getting a little more momentum so we can push it forward.
I can make a comment. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Amanda. Go ahead.
Thank you. So with a lot of our communities that have been like, it's not a lot, it's not enough grant funding, basically. They don't want to do all the paperwork and stuff. The CEC grants are typically no contract if you do pre-approved, and no match grants. And honestly, they're not as hard as other grants, and they're not competitive, so you don't have to wait a year to figure out if you get it. We also had some communities that got grant funding in the first round that were like, oh my God, that was a nightmare. I hated it, to do all the paperwork, especially if they did LED lighting or LED street lights or something like that, because they had to go through NIPA, had to go through the utility, and there was just a lot of issue. So I think explaining them to them this round, look, it's a no match, no contract grant, especially for those $5,000 grants. They can put them right into a clean energy fund and then use it for any maintenance issues they have, any giveaways they want to do. The grant application for a $5,000 grant is a spreadsheet, and you just put 3 sentences. That's all it has to be. And same with the 10,000 and greater grants too. If it's below 30,000, there's no contract at all, as long as it's pre-approved. So I think that ease of accessing grant funding and using it for something that, we had one community that their air conditioner broke, and I'm like, perfect, here's a $5,000 grant, you can replace it with a heat pump instead, and they've been loving it. So I think using it to what they need and being like, hey, look, this is free money that you can tap into and kind of do something better than what you were going to do.
Awesome. Josh?
Yeah, I was going to say two things. One, recognizing the group makeup, the group that we are, right? We just at a high level, we have folks on this network that are practitioners. So they're either elected officials, or they're staff of local government, or they're CEC coordinators, providing that technical assistance. And so we have that one bucket of terrific representation of practitioners and experts. And then we have another bucket of folks who are basically advocates, right? People who are trying to nudge the communities along and hopefully push them toward the practitioners to help them to achieve whatever they want to achieve. And I think part of what intrigues me and excites me about this sort of, we have both on this call, there might be a third bucket as well, but having the practitioners and advocates sort of work together and coordinate together is a very exciting prospect. So I think from a very practical point of view, because all this activity is place-based, right? It takes place within counties, and then within the counties, the towns, cities, the villages, and all that. One of the things I appreciated from your survey that you'd sent out would be to, let's map out, first of all, where, everyone who's part of this network, where are we place-based, and then try to figure out from there, where are their communities, where can there be opportunities perhaps for advocates to work toward moving those communities to work more closely with the practitioners so we can achieve whatever we want to achieve. And that would be one sort of interesting step that would make sense to be an immediate step to kind of think about, figure out. If we get crazy, we can come up with an ambitious, like the CLCPA, come up with deadlines by which we want to achieve actually whatever we want to achieve, be it through CEC or CSC. And then the other part of it, which is a little bit more longer term, would be to take a look at okay, well, they're outside of New York City. There are, 57 counties. How many counties do we currently have represented within this network? But like, where are we missing? And then kind of over sort of a medium longer term, trying to figure out how we can build that network and bring in both practitioners and advocates from those counties so that we can ultimately, achieve a vision of being present in all 57 non-New York City counties, and then influencing those municipalities to be participatory, be it CEC or CSC at the full level. So that's sort of that's where my brain goes, and those are the observations I wanted to share.
Thank you, Josh. And I did put that peer-to-peer survey in the chat. It's the very top. I put it in there before we all joined, so I wouldn't forget. We do have some responses, which are interesting, but we definitely need more. So and I'll share that with an email after this meeting. But that link is in the chat to help us identify the best locations. And are your programs in Putnam? I don't think so. Josh, right?
No, currently we're not. We're not currently in Putnam. We don't have we only are operating where we have a local board, a local chapter. So we're in Westchester. But hopefully if we ever build our board out, we hope to expand to other counties.
Great. Awesome.
I think I asked this once before, but Josh, just say hypothetically, we were able to get a meeting, pardon me, just as I start speaking, I have something in my throat. If we were able to hypothetically get a meeting with some of those municipal elected officials, we wouldn't obviously, expect you to take a drive out there, but is it something that you'd be willing to do virtually, just a 30-minute, hey, look, this is some of our research, this is what we have found. I know it's obviously not where you're centrally located or where you technically have any of those boards, but again, somewhere in Putnam or a Long Island, somewhere that you're not technically located. Is that a concept that you'd be willing to do? Just give out that 30-minute presentation?
Yeah, absolutely. I think something we mentioned on a prior call is that, we're in 10 counties, we're focusing on that. But if there are other people in other counties that would like to use our research, and our research is basically aggregating the data, analyzing the data, trying to show towns and counties and cities, the path that and this is specifically targeted toward climate smart communities, if you didn't already know, just showing what the pathway was for the 132 certified communities for certification was. So it's something that's easily, we can easily replicate. We have it down really, and Ella does a tremendous job on that. So yeah, that is one of the things where we'd be happy to partner with other organizations, other advocates in counties where we're not located, and to figure out what a plan of action could be. We could just hand off the materials and say, here's our branded materials. Go ahead, you can present that. Or, hey, we're not opposed to taking a drive out anywhere or train anywhere. We're happy to do that. Or if it's a thing on Zoom. But yeah, we're happy to open up that beyond the other 47 counties where we're not active. I think that's sort of like the dream, where we can kind of share our materials and our research with other advocates who do have standing within the community. We would never go out to a community where we didn't have a local chapter, where we didn't have standing, but we would be happy to pass it along or go in jointly as a way to do that. So totally open for that level of coordination in terms of what we do.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm currently trying to plan something with all of the villages here, and maybe splitting it up, the 15 to 20 minutes on CSC program, maybe headed by you, some of the work that you did, and then try to get the local CEC coordinator involved, and then 15, 20 minutes on that, and let the municipalities, one, understand the difference between the very close acronyms that they are, and then also, the availability of what each would entail and what they could do with each. So, all right, I am currently working, trying to facilitate something there. So I might be in touch over the next few weeks.
Count us in. Roadshow sounds great.
Awesome. Thank you.
And Josh, could you just put your email in the chat? Simon is asking for it, if you don't mind. As far as moving forward, is there anybody here, and Joe, we're here for, for you as well, that are ready to take a step to reach out, to engage their contacts, just to find out, as we mentioned, you know, where the staff sits, if you're kind of stuck, or if you know that there's potential movement, you know, maybe Manna Green, you have some suggestions, you know, where we could start that engagement with municipalities and help them move the needle? Or Joe, if you are, what can we do to support that?
Yeah, I mean, that's, you know, that's the question, right? I'm not really sure. I think listening to what Dan and Josh were just talking about, though, I could imagine a meeting of the, you know, Putnam County, our network of advocates who are currently, you know, heading up their own climate smart task force within their town or village, and you know, members of the CAC committees, and Sustainable Putnam followers who want to get more engaged and active in their towns. I think, you know, it would be very motivational for them to hear about, you know, some of these other towns and what they've done and what's possible. I think that kind of thing would be very motivating, because it's one thing to kind of read about, you know, what's going on in East Hampton or in Kingston, and these other communities, but they seem very far away from where we are, in more sense than one. So yeah, I think talking to those people and hearing their stories and hearing what's possible, I think that would be a big leg up.
Well, I think we can help you with that. Is that something that we can help you coordinate and have some of our speakers that we've talked to each other, but to bring that expertise to your you know, grassroots level, to engage the elected officials more. You know, we were talking about Students for Climate Action, this group of students who love the engagement process, right? They love speaking in front of town hall. They love meeting one-on-one with their elected officials. This is what they want to do. And that's really, they're calling, they're emailing, and that's really important. You know, one thing, you know, if a legislator will get 5 calls, that's like 500 to them, you know, so just really engaging those that have those elected officials that can make the difference. So we'd be happy to work with you in putting on a webinar for Sustainable Putnam and bringing in whatever speakers, including Josh or Ellie, to also speak on what that can be done, or anyone else here in this network.
That'd be great.
And then everybody could join. Anybody could join.
If I could just chime in. So NISAC is currently looking into creating chapters of NISAC at a county level, in which we're recreating the concept of an environmental management council, which was in its heyday quite popular back in the 80s and 90s, in which a county level volunteer group, similar to a municipal level volunteer group, were very active, and they brought all local environmentalists together, not just appointed committee members, but also activists, and again that died because of lack of funding from New York State. So we're actually starting our efforts in Westchester County, and if that succeeds, we're trying to export that concept out to all the other 58 counties that don't have EMCs, and there are maybe out of that 58, maybe 15 have EMCs. So that's another possibility. And again, I'm very much interested in what Josh is doing in their 10 counties, and I would like very much to know which 10 counties he's active in, because perhaps we can collaborate with your organization in moving forward with those 10 counties. But I'm just throwing that out as another potential model that this group can consider. And certainly we're at the very initial stages. I can't really report on any successes, other than to know that there's a tremendous amount of interest in Westchester County to organize. We have something like, I think, 48 municipalities in Westchester County, of which I think 42 have local advisory commissions like CACs or sustainability groups or climate smart task forces. So Westchester County is really primed to have some sort of unifying group to bring all these people together, not to mention all the advocacy groups, Sustainable Westchester, and all the local groups that are not part of their municipal framework, but are part of the solution. So I do throw that out, and if anyone is interested in knowing more about what we can do, I'll leave my name in the chat, my contact information, and we could perhaps start a dialogue where you are in different parts of the state.
What I will do is I will share the league's presentation that they did a couple months ago, which will have a lot of information. And I will also share everybody's contact information that's active. Okay.
Just wanted to mention, just because it's fresh in my head, we were helping some communities with New York Forward and DRI. So I did a walkthrough with one of our communities that got New York Forward yesterday. Another one's happening today. But a lot of the communities, so there's 30 plus communities within the state that got New York Forward or DRI. So that's 10 million for DRI and either 2.5 or 4.5 million, depending on how many they awarded for New York Forward. But any building that is over 5,000 square feet is required to do decarbonization within the New York Forward and DRI. So for our communities, we're pushing community campaigns, and for any of their projects to be, like if they have a public project that's involved in it, to be, cleaner, greener, that type of thing. But I don't know if there's something we could put together as far as like, here's the opportunities for any of these project sponsors, and like give it to the municipality, like, hey, you might as well sign up for a community campaign, because 9 times out of 10 the project sponsor asks for money for their HVAC system. So if they have to do decarbonization as well as replace their heating system, it's usually heat pumps. So that for a small municipality, if they have 5 projects that go through, that would be enough for their community campaign. I don't know. Basically, there's the Green Jobs, Green New York energy studies they can do. There's the utility rebates, stuff like that. We worked with National Grid a lot that will do walkthroughs, and I'm sure the other utility companies would. I don't know if that's something at like a statewide level that would be good to put out, because now they're required to do the decarb. So it's something that they're all in that stage. They haven't had their first LPC meeting yet. So they're all in a good point to be like, hey, if you do this now, it'll be better for them, basically.
One other resource, Renewable Energy Long Island is a subcontractor to the Long Island Clean Energy Hub through NYSERDA. And they are wonderful right now with providing funding for community campaigns. So we are trying to engage municipalities because we have the funds, right? We have the funds to help. So, giving that information to them, and it's funny, they're still not, we're reaching out to communities saying, we have this free money for you, let's do a community campaign, and they're not responding, and it's a little bit, it's interesting, but it's a lot of work, right? And so I know everybody's very busy. So, in any way, tap into your regional Clean Energy Hub, because there's additional funding there as well. And if you need the contacts, I could be happy to provide those to you.
Parts of the state, our hub, we were in contact with, but some of the regions, I know there's just like a disconnect with the hub. So we're trying to work it out with NYSERDA now, but I'm glad that you guys have it. That's great, because it's a wonderful resource. I used to be on the SEEK program, so it's like the precursor to the hub. So I always loved it.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Yeah, we're just getting our outreach is at the beginning stages, and, just trying to provide, whatever we can do to help. But it's amazing that how much funding is available right now, right? Through the hubs, through the IRA, through the rebates. There's just a lot of opportunity there. But again, there's a learning curve. And I think, how do you get those funds is a challenge, but there's a lot of money out there.
That's what I always tell the communities. I'm like, do it now, man. They're handing out money left and right. Like, if you don't do it now, I don't know. In 10 years, it might not be the same way, but they're basically paying you to install EV chargers. So do it.
Right. You know, there's a good point that's being made now is that just as far as meetings and discussions and, you know, online Zoom meetings are good to a point, right? It gets us all engaged statewide and we need these meetings to meet, right? This is a statewide network. But at some point, person-to-person meetings are much better. So, you know, designing these webinars with Putnam and with Westchester, you know, I think we can put some effort into you know, getting your feedback if you think in-person meetings would be better than providing a Zoom meeting, you know, as we plan these. Because we want to be able to reach as many people as possible, yet of course that engagement is very possible or very important.
Well, along those lines, in the Hudson Valley, the organization Partners for Climate Action has held, they were holding a series of green drinks events where, you know, it was, you know, cocktail hour and usually in a pretty nice posh spot too. And then, you know, a speaker kind of in the middle of the event, and then more mingling. And it was great for networking and meeting people face to face. And you know, it was a big draw. I mean, they got huge crowds. Granted, it was for the entire Mid-Hudson Valley, but we actually Sustainable Putnam actually just held its first green drinks event in Putnam. And we got people that I've never seen and never met before, who were like, wow, what is this Sustainable Putnam? Tell me more. I want to get involved. You know, and it was the night of that, we had a horrendous rainstorm. There was like all kinds of travel warnings and still people came out. So I think people are, you know, post-pandemic, I think people are still hungry for face-to-face events. So I would, you know, if it's possible to do something in person in Putnam, I think that would, you know, and we'll provide the snacks and beverages, non-alcoholic or otherwise, to get people out. I think that would be awesome.
Right. I'm not originally from New York, so how far is Kingston from you, Joe? Hours wise?
It's about 1 hour.
Okay, because I'm wondering if we could get some of our speakers to attend. You know, I know, for example, Kate, maybe we could bring her in, right, on a webinar for her presentation that can go back to that in person, or maybe Julie would be able to attend. But that's something that we can talk about is creating a successful event. So as far as takeaways, I like this. So we are going to create a webinar, an educational webinar about NYSERDA and the Department of Public Service comments. I think we all have a lot to learn here. Whatever we can do to keep that CEC program in place for the future of our you know, successful implementation. We will work with Joe on a webinar for his constituents, his region, to showcase successful models that they'd be able to replicate. And Simon, also with you, maybe we could work together in Westchester doing the same. There's so much good work going on in both those, especially Westchester, right? And with Brad there as well in the Hudson Valley. And maybe we could plan an in-person event in a similar way. And Josh, I'm going to push that survey again and identify some regions that we're working collaboratively together, so we could identify ways to push in and get some movement in some municipalities. Am I missing any others?
mean, I know I have one action item myself, but that is, again, trying to set up something with villages here just locally. Again, trying to speak with them about the CEC program and CSC program. So, Melissa, maybe something you and I can work on, but we'll reach out as needed, maybe Joshua, to you as well when it comes time to get that details ironed out.
Great, thank you. And Ellie, yes, thank you. We will definitely be reaching out to you. And nice, Serta. Appreciate that. Right. Are there any other questions or any additional talking points?
I just want to say thanks for indulging me and letting me, share our humble story and get everybody's input and feedback. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, to Dan and everybody really who joined in today.
And we really appreciate all your feedback, and this funding goes through June, and so we're meeting with our funders in June. We want to keep doing this. I think we're just getting started. I think we're learning. I think there's successful measures we're learning from, and we want to continue this and continue collaborating. So, if there's any suggestions on your end, some true suggestions on how we could continue this in a successful way, and or how this is affecting or benefiting your organization, your agency, your municipality, that would be very helpful. So we could just make sure we continue to do that. So if there's anything you would like to send our way and suggestions, please do. You have Dan and my emails. Josh, is there anything you'd like to say?
No.
Okay. I feel like you are an equal partner in this. You all are, and you're an excellent engager. Just wanted to
No. I mean, I'm happy to share. No, this has been so, I can tell you, this has been so helpful in the work that we've been doing, knowing that there's a larger network out there, excited by the prospect of, thinking beyond our scope right now with the 10 counties that we're focused on, and just, love to find ways to get more efficient and effective and accomplish in all the work that we're doing. I think if we can kind of coordinate more and share more, I think we can probably come up with a very focused game plan and be very effective in terms of getting both CEC, CSC really off the ground. I mean, what we've been looking at CSC was that right now there's only about a 25% uptake when you look at all the counties and cities and towns and villages, and that means there's a huge opportunity there. And I know there are more CEC participation communities as well, but in both cases, there's a huge opportunity there. And I think with a little bit of strategy and focus, I think we could be killing it where we're located and figure out where we're not located and bring in some other people and share with them how to get it done. It's the only way that any of this CLCPA mandate stuff's going to work out is that if we can get all the entire local government sector to be participatory. And of course, that success will breed success throughout. When government leads by example, I think then the public follows and companies follow and others people follow. So yeah, there's some real good synergy there.
Awesome. Thank you.
But I don't really have anything to say, but that's what I wanted to say.
That's why I asked. That's good. Hey, how about you, Dan? Any final comments?
I think we covered most of it here. Again, if there's anything that you think that would be helpful for you all in your individual efforts as you pursue any and all environmental sustainability, energy efficiency, CEC program related work, reach out to us. If there's something that we can do independently to help you all, if there's a deliverable that you think would be helpful, we are willing to spend some of our time to try to help you in your specific goal. So I know obviously throughout our conversations, we are very focused on the CEC program, CSC programs. But if there's something else that you're all working on, let us know. We are here to help, not just single-handedly focus on this issue, but anything you all are working on, we're willing to throw some of our time behind. So yeah, let us know if there's something else that comes to mind. And simultaneously, if there's something that you want to let the group know here, that's why we are trying to coalesce, all of these partners. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it from my side, but yeah, reach out. And then again, self-proclaimed green building nerd. So if any green building questions come up, I always throw that offer out there as well.
I'm going to take you up on that.
Please. I need something other than just doing lead certification. I need to like actually talk about it. I can't just look at energy bills anymore. I'm going crazy in my mind. So please.
And just before we say goodbye, Amanda has a question.
Yeah, I didn't know if anyone has gone through, like, I know the IRA tax credits, they opened that like registering portal, whatever, with like DOE, but I didn't know if anyone did it yet. Okay. Yeah, because I'm just nervous because like we haven't had anyone that's ready for it yet. And they have like weird guidance where it's like you have to do it after the project is complete, but like 6 months before the end of the year. I don't know. So I'm just waiting to see when someone does it to know how hard it is or not. We have a community with the ECBG grants, and I was very happy that the portal is very user friendly, but I'm like, I don't know about the IRS. I don't know how.
Well, no, but if you do have any experience with it, once you do it, please share that with us.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be happening soon, but I'm nervous. I mean, I don't know. Federal portals, I feel like, are either dumb easy, like the ARPA stuff, if it was less than 10 million, was just stupid easy, but then other stuff is hard for no reason. So I'm waiting to see.
Keep us posted on that. Wonderful. Well, thank you all so much. We'll see you. We'll put out a doodle poll for actually, I'm feeling like our May meeting might be the NYSERDA informational meeting, but we'll be in touch. And if you have any suggestions, please send them to us. Okay, take care, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.